Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. Guys, let's have a look at our next wine here. Wow. I know it's our third one for the day, but now we're on to the news section of our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay,
and Cam, I'll have to sort of give you the credit for falling on the sword to the honesty, unlike some others within our group who buy more expensive bottles.
I'm very sorry. I've told you already, guys. But, it's all about negotiation.
I said I'm going to have to buy this one. I told the lady that the limit was $50. She goes, what about Riesling? Do you like Riesling? So I did it for the greater good. All right, we were going to be sitting here. We have literally drunk the bottle shop out of premium wines. So from now on, it's going to have to be Dan Murphy's at Gosford before I get down to Barrera on a Thursday. So that's the thing. I'm in Barrera on a Thursday, so I'm at Barrera bottle shops, and I've drunk them out of premium wine.
You think they would have a better selection in Barrera? I mean, it is a... Is it a bit
no, there's a couple of Penfolds there, but we've drunk them. We've had them. We've had the 407.
We haven't had the
Grange.
Oh, someone's got a bottle sitting in
the
cupboard at
That
home.
is true.
We haven't got the 389.
Speaking of which, did you get
we haven't had the St. Henry's?
No, that's not there. They had the 407. They had the bin 407, which we've drunk here. I think you brought it. One of you bought it. And then the bin 28, which I bought, which I don't know if you were here. Did I bring that
you
last
brought that with
week?
Tomo.
I brought that last week.
Steve Thompson, yeah.
So they're the only Penfolds that are there.
Yeah, we're going to have the 389 and St. Henry's. All right, next time I'll bring the St. Henry's.
So this is a Château Tanunda. Again, repeating myself. Château Tanunda.
Château Tanunda.
It was a winery established in 1890. No, it's from Adelaide. They're all sold out in Dan Murphy's in Adelaide at the moment because they've been locked down again, the poor bastards.
Yeah.
50-year-old vines from the Barossa Valley. It's a Cab Sav. It's a 2016. It was $89. Sorry, darling. Love you. But it was that or drink $4
Riesling.
Chardonnay. Yeah. So I love the lady. She said, I've just started drinking Chardonnay. What do you think about Riesling? I got to go. So it's been airing for however long we've done the first two segments. Oh, look at that.
Have a look at the colour, man. You can tell. It's past its use by date.
It's got Danola written all over it.
You know when they get that brown tinge to it? Are they gone? Are they past?
No, they're not gone. No, that's aged.
You're right. Okay.
Ooh.
When the cork is drier than the Simpson Desert.
Pour your fucking wine.
When the cork is drier than the Simpson Desert, they're gone.
Ooh.
Cheers, boys. Last one. Come on.
I think you've won.
on.
Listen, just the nose. I think you've done well.
Oh.
Yeah, that is.
Mummy.
That is the winning one.
Hey.
It's a good drop.
That is the winning one.
It's a shame that it's disqualified and wins because it's above the...
Thomas definitely came last this week. I can 100% suggest that Thomas
I'm
came
sorry,
last
boys.
this week.
You are not really connoisseur of good wines.
Listen, you can try and sell it to us as much as we want.
No, I'm very sorry.
No.
There's a level where we had to stop.
No.
Here you go. It's bottle 5,754 of only 8,600 bottles. So the limited release. I did you guys a favour.
Thank you.
I did it for us.
Very, very.
And
nice.
I owned up to the price because you would have had no idea.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah?
Honest Cam, they call me.
He would have Googled it anyway. You would have found out.
I would have Vivino it and found out, mate.
All right, let's start this one on a depressing note and then finish on a high. Hang on.
Did your team win last night?
No, we're not going to go there first.
All right.
And there's a reason.
No, let's go there first.
I want to talk about something more serious first.
All right, what is it?
Today, the investigation into the war crimes by the Australian SIS was released. We've been warned about it the Prime Minister warned us about it on Monday, but if you take an interest in that kind of stuff, which I've followed war history forever and a day, so they've actually been investigating this since 2016. There's been a lot of innuendo. There's been a lot of newspaper reports. There's been Victoria Cross recipients trying to sue the media for defamation.
Yep.
There's all sorts of things going on with it. people might not care. The thing for me why this is important, guys, is as I was growing up, all I wanted to do was join the army. Every game I played was with my army toys, or I was in the bush. I was an army man. Both my grandfathers fought in the war. One was in Kokoda.
As a chocolate or as a...
He was actually an aircraft mechanic, but it doesn't make it any less of a thing. These people fought in World War II. And you hear the horror stories from everywhere else, but you never heard them about Australian soldiers. And it was always a massive sense of pride. Like Anzac Day I hold very dear. It hurt. I'm sure it hurt a lot of people this year that you couldn't have one, but it's an important thing to me.
Yeah.
The level of respect and what Australian soldiers have been able to achieve against all odds all throughout history. We've always been the underdog. We've always fought the good fight. We've always, maybe less in recent years where we're fighting America's wars for them, but we've always done it with the Aussie spirit, or so you thought. I mean, the Anzac was born out of the best intentions that any human beings could possibly have, mate. I mean, the fight on Gallipoli and what those guys had to go through doesn't come from any more pure of heart. So maybe it's a bit naive, but when these things started coming out about the Australian SAS, a big part of me hoped it wasn't true, and a big part of me hoped it was a media beat-up, but it also, the key indicator for me was they were going after Victoria Cross recipients, which is the highest medal of honour you can win in the Australian honour, and if they're willing to go after them, which are the revered as national heroes, then there's enough smoke to suggest there might be fire. So for it to come out today that it looks like in Afghanistan between 2005 and 2012 there was 39 murders of unarmed either prisoners or innocent civilians.
I heard it was 2016.
Well, the stuff I'm reading says it was 39 murders.
Yeah.
There's 19 soldiers being referred to the federal police, and the medal recipients are part of that. To read stuff like when a young soldier joined the group, they were being forced basically to shoot someone in the head to blood them.
The blooding.
And it hurts, and you might be able to shrug it off. It hurts me as someone who respected the art and thought we were better. And the naivety there, the logic is you train people to kill, they go over there, they're going to find something to kill. That's what happens, right? So maybe I'm a bit naive and maybe I'm a bit stupid, but I mean, on a completely fucking veneer level, there's a show on TV at the moment called SAS where a bunch of B-grade celebrities are trying to be SAS soldiers. Yep. And now there's a huge risk that the SAS will be disbanded. It was in Canada when they found out the Canadian SAS was responsible for war crimes. They got rid of the whole regiment to deal with, and I just think it's a massive shame and a massive disservice to the people that have gone before them, and a massive problem for those people in Afghanistan who had to go through all that stuff. And I mean, people probably won't pay too much attention to it today in the news, but maybe they should. Yeah,
there was a lot of, and most of it went on through the Afghan war, and there was a lot of civilians that they're saying that were killed without reason. And while that's a tragedy, I was looking at this the other day, and when we said we might speak about this today, and I was thinking about the other topic we've just come on is about bad leadership. And is it the soldiers that we point the finger at, or is it their leaders that we point the finger at?
No, it's the leadership. And the report's done that. So I was reading up on the report, because it only got released this morning, the report.
Yeah.
So while you guys were fucking late for the podcast and at lunch without me, I was reading up on what had actually been released. And it sounds like they're going into great detail. This is no fly-by-night investigation.
Yeah.
They said this murder, this murder, this murder, this murder, and this murder can be directly attributed to senior leadership at the head of the armed forces.
Yeah.
But this one was more on a corporal or sergeant level, which is the squad commander. So the sales manager level, if you want to.
Yeah.
Right? That we can attribute these portion to the ownership and this portion to the management.
I think people have to understand on a basic level that when they have a SAS soldier, a Green Beret, an Army Ranger, whatever those elite forces are, the Marines, whatever they are conditioned to follow out their orders. Now, sometimes there are talk about following orders and giving orders up the line and down the line, so that the people that are giving the orders are receiving the right information. But at the end of the day, these people, they're training people to kill. These are hired killers.
Don't defend it, bro.
No, I'm not defending it. What I'm saying is we have to understand the people there at that time. So the people giving the orders need to be held accountable, not so much the people carrying out
they all
the
need
orders.
to be accountable, because if you'll pull me up on this for sure, and I probably should be pulled up on it, but I know right from wrong. I know shooting someone with their hands handcuffed behind their back is very fucking wrong. And that it's interesting, most of the evidence that they've got from this inquiry has come from soldiers confessing and swearing on oath that either saw it happen or couldn't deal with the fact that they actually partook in it. Right? And you cannot imagine the pressure that you're under when you're over there and
and that's
in your bubble, which is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
100% get it. But I don't know why I thought we were better. Yeah, I should have known better when I saw us fighting over fucking toilet paper. I thought we were better.
And we're doing it again in bloody South Australia
And
now.
clearly we're not better. And I think much as a country like America needs to wake up and realise there's other countries in the world, we say that all the time, maybe the Anzac spirit fucking died with the Anzacs. I don't know. And that hurts. That makes me sad.
Why would that hurt you? Listen. It
makes me sad because...
casualty of wars, that's the same. That's a thing. I'm sorry, maybe... being Vietnamese and coming from a background where we've been 1,000 years in a war against French, American, China, really, we understand. My casualty of wars is casualty wars. People go to war and things happen. And you can't expect people to do the right thing all the time in the spirit of war. You know, there's a lot of things that happen wrong. I get that. There's a lot of things that happen wrong. But here it is. These guys are under pressure. There's things that are happening. Afghanistan had been into war against Russia for 20 years, and then suddenly the American and SAS been sent in. Mate, what is it to know that, you know, there's people exploding and being killed every freaking day? And you could be one of them. So you do silly things. You do stuff that are silly. So I hear what...
silly things and outright murder, mate, I can't put them and the report was very clear to say that none of these instances can be put down to what they call a fog of war incident or a heat of the moment incident.
Yeah.
It sounds like...
What happened in Vietnam, in the Vietnam War? What happened when...
100%.
When they killed the innocent
and that's
Vietnamese?
That's probably why people were...
Do you see anything?
Probably not.
Okay. What happened when the Australian got sent into Long Tan? What happened there? What happened before that? I mean, there's so many things, you know.
You're alive for a lot of that, and I don't mean to be flippant, but you guys lived through the Vietnam stuff, right? And there was a lot of protests because of the Vietnam War. For as long as I've been alive, which is only 38 years, I've only known
he
the fucking Anzac tradition, mate. And that's... Call me naive. Everyone will. Everyone will,
you
right?
know, we have to put it in context. We have to put it in context because you are right, Ken. There is the fog of war. There is the making a decision with a prisoner with hands tied behind their back, being shot in the head. And I'll tell you a true story. My dad, so when I went to Italy in 97, 98, I met a friend of my father's who lost her hand to a bomb exploding in the house during the Second World War. Now, that was friendly fire, apparently, but a bomb from the Americans. Yeah. But that wasn't intentional. That is part and parcel of wartime. Yeah. It happens in war, right? There are casualties, friendly fire and so forth. But there are the war crimes that you're talking about that, and again, you see, I might be naive. I would hope that when they judge these soldiers, they really dissect the situation very carefully to make sure that, you know, it wasn't through the fog of war or adrenaline and it wasn't just, like you said before, the blooding of...
I think the problem they're going to run into is, and we've spoke ad nauseum about this, is society has moved so far to the left, so far to political correctness and can't say this, can't say that. Like we even joked before about me saying if you've got the balls, well, that might be a gender slur, right?
Yeah, right.
So there's going to be people calling for fucking blood, and the political pressure may cloud the part of the investigation as well. But from everything I've seen, it seems very thorough, the initial investigation.
Okay, that's good.
Right? they've been very detailed in it because it's something you can't fuck up, and it's probably for the reasons that I'm upset about. Now, look,
Why are you upset about?
I tried-
that we went to war in Afghanistan and we were not clean.
killing. If the reports are true, have you read the reports, mate?
Listen, it's simple. Report is very simple. It's whatever they want.
We all went to school, right? We all had a group.
We killed 39 people.
Yeah, we all had a group of mates that fucking hung around and said, mate, we've all done this. Go and do this. Try this cigarette, right? We've all done that. Well, instead of doing that with a fucking cigarette, they're standing around in a group and saying, shoot this guy because it's your first kill and you have to do it, right? And that just...
And it was
Thought we were
civilians.
better,
and
mate.
so-
I thought
That's
we were
where
better.
I'm coming from. I'm really joining Chris on this. Who was the leader?
Yeah, 100%. 100%
Who
agree.
was the leader? I have
And I
no,
mean no
I
slight-
have no problem with thinking what you're thinking. Then
The
let's
leadership.
take the leaders out, hang
100%.
them, hang them.
Yeah, fucking oath.
It's because the troops can only do what they know their leaders would allow. Culture is not what you live by; it's what leaders allow.
Tie them up in front of the Afghan families, fucking people, and let them have at it. I tried to get into the army, and I didn't get in for reasons that are probably for another podcast. But not long after that, I went and worked in North Queensland, and the area I was working in is where a lot of the army guys went for their R&R, and they were coming back from Iraq. And it was 2003, 2005, so it'd be the second Iraq war in Afghanistan. And they were all messed up.
Yep.
Like, they'd seen shit that no human being should have to see, and not one of them... I became quite good friends with a lot of them, but not one of them, you could say, had all their screws in the right holes. And you can't underestimate for 1 second what that must do to a human being and the results of that. So I'm not for 1 second saying...
It's a perfect world. There's black and white.
Yeah, I'm
There's a lot of grey
not
areas
for
in
one...
there. Yeah.
I'm not demeaning... You know, those guys had to go through hell to even get there. And
PTSD and all this shit,
if they've made mistakes, they've made massive mistakes. You would hope that the systems and processes and the hierarchy was in place to stop that shit happening. And if it did happen, probably the worst part of it that's going to come up is the cover-up that happened after it happened.
So,
right?
the bit that I've read recently was that England has just recently gone through the same scenario about war crimes, and they've gone, well, whoever is accountable, we're going to hold them accountable. But the Australian government was almost wanting to pass a law to say those soldiers will be exempt from punishment because it was during a war and so forth. And the English actually jumped in and said, don't do it because you're actually compounding the issue next time we go to war.
Yeah, the word they've been using is impunity.
That's
it. They've been acting with impunity,
That's it.
And the soldiers were getting that impression from the higher ups.
That's it. That's the...
You're immune from...
Listen, maybe it's totally outside the topic. But what about all these people that have died from COVID and we here as human beings walk around without mask or do all these kind of freaking protests and then go home and kill these elderly or the people who are weaker and with systems that don't survive the COVID? Do we do anything about these bastards?
Well, we've been trying, but Dan Andrews is still in fucking
No,
government.
but I'm just thinking, like, you know,
it
I
goes
think
on different levels.
let's stop wasting our saliva on people we've sent out there to do a job. Yes, they have done some stuff. Let's punish them, or let's not bring it out until we say, do you know what? We're gonna punish your leader because everything rots.
I hope the
from
leadership
top
gets
down.
punished. 100%. Hope the
But
leadership
let's
gets
not
punished.
make a bigger deal, because here's the question. Those of you who have watched the movie Richard Jewell, that is a story of the American police or security guard who discovered the bomb.
The bomb in Atlanta, and they thought he was a suspect.
And they thought he was him. And they took him and crucified him. I thought what they did to Richard Jewell was wrong. And he said it very well at the end in the movie. I don't know what he said in real life, but in the movie he said, listen, I wonder what would happen with the next Richard Jewell. When he's going to walk past the bag that's going to be suspicious, is he going to just put his hand up and go through what I've gone through? Or is he going to run out for his life? He's going to run away. And I think...
Well, I hope the next time that an SAS soldier has got an innocent person handcuffed, he doesn't shoot him in the fucking
You would
head.
think twice.
That's what
You
I
would
hope.
think twice.
If that's going to come out of it, then fucking happy days, mate. But
in every war, there's some issues. Now, if the leader did not know, it's one thing. But if the leader didn't know and cover up,
Gotta go.
Just take him and roast him. Forget about the troops. The troops does what it's allowed. Okay?
What's the name of that movie?
Richard Jewell
Is it the Boston
died
bombing?
of cancer.
No.
Atlanta Olympics.
Right, okay.
He's gone through so much shit because of the press and all of this crap that people have been doing that really it took a toll on him. And this guy, yes, sometimes people do things that are outside societal norms. Do we have the right to just, we want soldiers to protect us. Right now, with the freaking shit that is happening with China and all this China crap about, Australia, you can't just say this, you can't say that because we're angry. What if something happens and none of our SAS get involved and protect us? What do we do then?
What's happening in America with the police?
What do we say then? Do we say, shit, no, you go and do your job, but you do the wrong killing thing first because... And the bullet will be slow. Think first before you shoot, because if something that you've done wrong, we will just hang you. Are you shitting me?
We're going to put everyone's name on every bullet.
We're going to have to stop this shit. I think that, we've got too much to think. Let's stop thinking about crap like this when we send our own soldiers into protecting our own interests. We're going to have to really think, even in statistics, they've got standard of variation for whatever is not right or on both sides. Yeah? And really, if we want to do something, get the top to be arrested. Once you do this, the top will tell the soldiers, this is not what I want to see.
And Cam, I'll tell you now, mate, Anzac Spirit or no Anzac Spirit, mate, it's happened since the time of freaking Julius Caesar, mate. Casualties of war have been always... It's not a
casualty of war, though, mate.
No, but you understand what I'm saying.
We said this about coronavirus, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but the what Thomas just said there is very similar. When I was being cavalier about coronavirus, which I still am, there's 75 people in the country have fucking got it, and you used to say to me, it's fine until one of your fucking relatives gets it or dies from it. If it was your fucking son, daughter, mother, brother, sister who got shot while they were sitting at fucking home because someone had bloodlust or needed to be fucking initiated into a group,
that's war.
You'd be, it's not fucking war, mate.
No, but unfortunately it is. Whether it's the Julius Caesar time,
you'd have a different opinion. My point is, you wouldn't be saying that's war.
No, absolutely.
Because the Afghans, right? You've actually proved my point. Fuck, we're getting around there. Afghans have been in war since they've been in existence, right? They've fought against every man and everything, and they know what war is. So if they're blowing up about it and they're calling for fucking people's heads, it is not just war, mate.
The first time someone's
exactly. So if they
it's
are
always
war,
happened though.
They are war. They know war.
What I'm saying is, always happened. Whatever war, it's always happened.
Be better.
I'm not questioning that, mate. It should not happen.
And
but
it's
it
a
always
leadership
happened.
level. Be better. And it's one of the consequences of it. Same as I think it's criminal how poorly the soldiers get looked after when they come back from war.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example. Let's say someone comes in and kills Chris, okay? And let's imagine
they drunk his wine.
Let's imagine that you give a shit about Chris. How would you feel? How would you feel about that person that just shot him?
He'd be happy. He saves $1,000. He doesn't.
No. That's why I said let's give a shit. You give a shit about it. How would you feel
about someone shooting Chris?
Yeah.
How is this?
I'm asking you.
I just did this point.
Let's say that someone came
I'd
into
be filthy
the room
at them. Yeah, 100%.
And
right.
shot your son.
Yes, but it'd be completely outside the norm, which apparently according...
How many soldiers died in Afghanistan?
I don't know.
41. How many got injured?
41. That's nearly as many as innocent fucking people got shot by the SAS.
We're too short, mate. So how many got injured?
Don't know.
261. Right? So... Do you know, this here is a very old problem for me. It is a problem that will never get fixed, which is a problem like the Palestinians versus Israel. It'll never be stopped.
I just think it's a shame, mate.
If something happens to your family, you would want revenge. And when you get revenge onto Chris and Chris' family, he want revenge. It'll never stop. Yeah, right? So we have a war that is going. And this war could be finished very soon because apparently Donald Trump is going to withdraw everyone.
Well, he did win the election.
With a lot of things happening right now in courts, he could still do some shit. But really... Come on, we're gonna have to stop this. I looked at some of the stuff, and I'm thinking, we've got too much free time. Do you know how in sales we say the same thing?
I don't have any free
when
time,
salespeople got so much free time, they just think up like free shit. We've got too much free time. There's people for the moment dying from COVID. There's freaking China trying to do all this shit. We spoke about one of our first
There's
COVID
people
bullshit,
dying
which
from
is
the SAS shooting them in the
what
head.
are we doing in Australia to make sure we don't depend on China? I don't know, man. Are we doing anything? Are we... Because all I hear is we're going to invest into this shit and that shit. I don't hear about we're going to invest into shit that's going to really build stuff in our own country.
Don't need to, mate. We've got
Right,
the real estate market.
So let's listen, man. I don't have that time for this crap, right? Why? Because I have lost families in the Vietnamese War.
Yep.
I have seen my parents go from multimillionaires to penniless when they went to Belgium. For me, man, casualty. Let's move on. We did not send civilians who went into Afghanistan to do the bad shit. We send soldiers. These guys are built differently. They go for a certain level of jobs. They do certain things. Okay, freaking just take whoever is the crew command and put him in jail, and then let's move on. Let's not make a big deal like we're now putting the entire SAS in a position where they're now going to be judged because of a few guys. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Right? And to go back to what Chris said, what do you mean? Gallipoli times, you don't think that there were Anzac people doing maybe some
Probably
silly
not,
shit?
mate. Probably. But maybe like everything, because of media and because it's been brought to the forefront, mate. I qualified it by saying I'm probably being fucking extremely naive about it.
No, you're not naive.
Right? But
You've got too much time on your hands. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't.
You're justified in having that belief that
You
you've had
pick
all
up
your
different
life.
shit in the news, mate, that matters to you. This fucking matters to me.
You're justified in having that belief in all your life and holding people on a pedestal. Absolutely. Totally understand that you disdain for their actions of the SAS. Totally believe that.
Some of the SAS.
And that is right. And whether it's the leadership or on an individual level, I can totally understand that your disbelief in their actions. But I think we're naive into believing that this has only happened in Afghanistan.
No, I don't think.
If I look at any, and I know it's a movie and it's make believe.
The rape and pillage has been on forever,
and that's what I was going to get at. The rape and pillage. Whether we look at the movie Fury or the American Sniper or Caesar.
I watched Full Metal Jacket the other day.
Full Metal Jacket's another one. Apocalypse Now, when you have during the Vietnam War. Any of those, you can sort of get an understanding that this is going to happen and has happened in every war. And it will happen again in every war.
I'm just trying to get the show taken off television, mate. That's all I really...
SAS? I actually like the show. You watch the show, and you see people cracking and under pressure or moving up.
I saw Shane Warne's son go on there and go, I'm an introvert and I don't like the publicity. You're on a fucking reality TV show, mate. That's the minute it lost me.
You know what? You have a look at people.
For me, the other day I was in the car with my daughter and she was complaining about the traffic, and I said to her, "You know what? If we don't want to contribute to the issue of traffic, we shouldn't be here right now.
We shouldn't be still on the road.
Because if we are here right now, we are contributing to it. And it's the same thing. Look at the U.S. election right now. Man, it's a freaking circus. Right?
It's a circus because two clowns were running for president.
No, the big thing that I have said many times, and I learned that line long time ago, and the line was, in the end, they shall treat you the way they treat their worst enemy. What do you mean that Donald Trump, the way he was treating his European partners and Asia-Pacific partners, that was not going to go back against the American people itself? Are you serious? Come on. He was not going to just lose graciously. This guy has made an entire life on lawsuits after lawsuits. That's what he's doing right now. And there's nothing else right now better than for him to continue what he was on. Now, I'm not saying that Joe Biden is going to do anything that's going to change.
You love him.
Okay?
Love him.
But I have been studying Trump by reading books about him as much as I've been studying about Joe Biden. And one of the things I do like is you don't need me to know the character behind both of them. Okay? So the character behind both of them does not mean that they do things right. There are many people better than Usain Bolt, but Usain Bolt has done 100 meters in under 10 seconds. Yes? So I get that. But that doesn't mean that the person who runs 13 seconds is the bad person. So what I'm trying to say is, let's have a look at what is real. And what is real for the moment, it's a real circus. There is stuff happening for the moment in the world that is only telling us a few things. And that is people with the social media and all of this information overload believe what they want to believe.
So this brings me back to what you were saying before about what you believe and what you've read into Biden and Trump. You've actually gone and done a little bit more research, right? Majority of people haven't. The media, this has been a media circus. The media has dictated this outcome, I believe.
Thomas got to meet Jack Biden Wilson on the weekend. And if you need to understand how big a circus it is, you talk to my 13-year-old son. What does a 13-year-old kid who lives in Toukley on the Central Coast give a fuck about the American election? But not only does he give a fuck about it, he's formulated arguments, and not stupid arguments. No, I'm serious.
Well,
as to his opinion on what should happen
Yeah.
in the fucking American
Yeah.
election. It speaks to a bigger thing where you talk about, like, I tried not to get offended, but when you said there's more important things to worry about, or let's not get wrapped up in the SAS stuff, why the fuck are we so wrapped up in an American election? Why are 13-year-old Aussie kids wrapped up
Very good point.
in an American election? Right?
Very good point. Very good point.
When we say media circus, I think a lot of us neglect the fact that media circus is no longer 7, 9, and 10 on the TV. It's Google, it's Twitter, it's Facebook,
Newmax.
it's
Fox,
YouTube. It's the
YouTube,
whole
mate.
lot.
CNN,
It's the whole lot, and they're out there, and
The Independent.
and this is
I
what
think that's more
David
dangerous.
Hicks.
Mate, that's more
I wanna
dangerous
ask-
than...
I want to ask these people who have an opinion on Biden and Trump. I want to ask them, who are leading our Liberal and Labor departments?
All
Do
right.
they know the people running our local
I'm going to
departments?
ask you this question. We are leaders in our office. When we recruit someone, how do we know we're going to get the right person? Or how do we know before they even start, we likely to have a good person?
The ad that we put out to
Well, if they
attract
fit-
them in the
if-
first
if-
place.
If they fit our values, if they fit our
Is
culture.
What if they don't fit your values? What if you're a bad person? How would you know that the person you have is a good person? What I'm saying to you is we don't have to believe in everything.
Yeah.
If you studied a little bit behind the recruit, you'll know. Right? So why don't we just take the time to really study people and do the same thing as we do in our own business? Then we can make a judgment. I said at the beginning already, I don't know whether Joe Biden's going to do better shit than what Trump has done.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, from having studied both, I know which one has got the character that I would want to have look after my children.
But why? So why?
But I haven't finished.
Why have you read 4 books on each person?
I haven't finished, because here it is. First of all, he's spoken about his younger child, and I was asking him during the weekend, why would you have arguments with people? What is it that you got to win against people? And Jack was telling me that what he wanted was to win. What he wanted was to know that through his fight with them on YouTube, that they would stop being on YouTube because it meant he won. And all I could see is the soldier is nothing else but what is a leader. The branch is nothing else but the trunk. If the trunk is about fighting and fucking killing everyone, the branch has to do the same, because it's only an emulation in order to be accepted. Even though the branch is saying, why do you do that? Because he doesn't understand that as a trunk, I can't see what's above the fence. So imagine now your tree, you're a oak tree, and you, as you grow, you now have a branch that's going on the other side of the fence. So that branch is seeing shit that's happening on the side of the fence that you don't understand, but he is nothing else but a extension of the trunk. Correct? So when you understand that, you go, maybe the sieve, the fluid that is going through that trunk of mine, that is going through into the branch, maybe it is from me. Right? So that is now the first answer to your thing. The second answer to your thing, because it's a very good question you asked. So,
They call me Donald Trump.
so
That branch is pissed, I know
here's
that.
the thing. I was having a discussion with my parents, because both my in-laws and my parents are for Donald Trump. And even though I've been speaking to Mum and I've been a bit saddened about what my parents have been going through because isolation in Belgium gets people to be angry. I think it's bringing the worst of people through COVID. I kept on asking myself, why would my parents do this? And I realized that both my parents or my in-laws come from what I call the generation of baby boomers, selfish people. People who are all about themselves, don't give a shit about anything else, just want to live life, and don't give a fuck about what will happen to either their prodigies, their children, or grandchildren. It's about them and how they can still continue living a good life. And for me, that's what it is. He said, these people are fighting for freedom. And so I thought straight away, mask or no mask is the same thing. The only difference between people who discuss about mask and no mask, they're talking about, I want my freedom to decide whether I have a mask or not. You're not going to tell me to have mask. And if you have a look, the highest number of people who have voted for Donald Trump are the baby boomers because they want that freaking freedom because that's what he's about. Now, why is Donald Trump a danger to what I think Australia has? We had no problem really with China until Donald Trump turned up. Until Donald Trump turned up, has put the pressure onto Australia to ask for the search for COVID when things are finished, for getting now involved with Japan in terms of military exercise in the Southeast Ocean.
Yeah?
And all of these things are happening. And our farmers having lost up to 7 billion in export from China. I'm very sorry. We are touched by everything that dude's making. And every decision for the moment in the last 4 years has cost Australia.
I was under the impression that Australia had called for the inquiry into the originality of the coronavirus. It had nothing to do with America. Australia was the first one to put their hands up to say, man, you come from your country.
Why don't you go back to the news and follow all the news where who started the Kung flu virus?
Morrison's come out today and said, we're Australia being Australians and we're not going to stop doing it.
Absolutely.
And if that's standing up for our values, then that's what we're going to do.
Listen, guys, we are America's puppets. Okay, let's stop this shit about we Australians stand up for ourselves. We are America's puppet. They tell us to sit down, we sit down. They tell us to stand up, we stand up. That's where we have got to exercise the ability to go beyond what is said or what's being said. All right, we as Australian citizens get fed shit, mate. You know, there's a series that will show you a glimpse. I don't know where it is anymore, but it will show you a glimpse of what's really happening in the Australian Parliament and how they backstab each other and how they do stuff, right? And we, as the Australian public, we're going to have to really exercise the ability to watch CNN or Fox together and realize that maybe Fox got some part of truth, maybe CNN's got some. And then make our own judgment rather than be stupid and go on CNN full on or Fox full on and decide we know the truth. Because I can tell you now, even if I watch 50% Fox and 50% CNN, I still haven't got the truth.
For a guy who is trying to tell us that there's two sides to every story, you're very opinionated.
I'm opinionated to the fact that we need to be more open to stuff. That's what I'm talking about. You have gone already that you know that Trump. You troll that Trump is an idiot, but you've already gone that Biden's an idiot.
They're both idiots.
Come on, man.
See, both sides of every fence.
Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth about Biden being an idiot.
We don't need a guy who cannot put a sentence together without a teleprompter. And this isn't, every time I bring this up, you go, oh, you've been brainwashed.
You know what?
I've watched it. I've watched the guy forget who God was.
I'll pause
I forgot the guy. You know what he said? He goes, if I didn't believe in this, I wouldn't be running for senator. You're running for president, you old
I'll pause you. Why isn't there a fucking limit on the age of the Prime Minister?
President.
President.
So you're giving me too much credit to you. I'm putting no thought into it whatsoever.
78.
How old's fucking Trump?
74.
84.
Seriously, why are we getting geriatrics?
Actually, I'm wrong about Trump. I think he's 14.
He's as old as the last woman he felt.
Why are we getting Why are we getting geriatrics to run?
No. Why do we care? It's America. I don't give a fuck.
That's a fair
I don't care.
I do.
Why
because
is my 13-year-old son, regardless of whether he's a trunk
Because it's
or a
affecting
branch
us.
or a leaf,
It
why
is
does he give a
affecting us,
fuck?
brother.
It's
It is
not.
affecting us. Absolutely. Whatever America says, we do. Okay? And it's not the problem of who we follow.
New South Wales lost last night.
New South Wales deserved to lose last night.
All Blacks lost last week.
Fucking considerably against Argentina. First time in history.
Lewis Hamilton won the 7th World Championship, and Tiger Woods shot 14 on a hole.
10 on one hole.
It was double figures.
When he found out he was going to lose anyway, he might as well go for a record. So he thought
No. That's where you wanted to talk about Tiger Woods' meltdown. I want to talk about Tiger Woods after his meltdown. Thomas, you and I have revered the All Blacks, especially since reading that book, Legacy, about their culture and about their aura. So what's happened to them recently is they're losing their air of invincibility. They had a draw with us and then lost a game to us, and we're spastics at the moment. We're no good.
But didn't they, like a fortnight ago, smash us 43 to like 5 or
Yeah,
something?
we're not good, right?
Yeah,
but then they lost to Argentina.
I think they've gone in with
Yeah.
it's going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah, but a
and
loss
blah,
is a
blah,
lot. So the All Blacks that we read about in Legacy don't let that
blah.
happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I don't follow a lot of rugby union, and rugby union is dying, especially in Australia. We're never going to catch up. All right, I sponsor a local rugby union team in the local Central Coast comp, and it is on its hands and knees the Central Coast comp, as is the rugby league comp, mind you. But rugby in this country is dying, so the Wallabies are never going to catch up, which is why the majority of our team is made of Fijians. All right, we're the Fijian Wallabies, pretty much. But the All Blacks still have everyone grows up in school wanting to be an All Black. What we need to know about the All Blacks team at the moment is they're nowhere near the talent that they've had in recent years. They're not as skilled a squad. So while we all got drawn into the aura and the most successful sporting franchise on the planet, which the All Blacks were, they were also, while they were doing that, a much more talented team than they are now. So is the level of talent governing their belief in their own culture, which is something I want to ask. And then I want to tie that into State of Origin last night. New South Wales lost the State of Origin series last night. New South Wales should have won the State of Origin series by the length of the 100 metres that I was meant to race Charlotte. On paper, the talent in the New South Wales team far outweighed the talent in the Queensland side. If you look through the history of State of Origin, that has been the case almost since it began. Queensland won 8 years in a row, and 8 years of that they had Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, Greg Inglis, who's from New South Wales. But the first 2 or 3 years of that, they weren't the best players in the world, so I don't count the whole 8 years. So take out that 5 years where they had the best players in the world. The media was out saying this is the worst Queensland team to ever take the field before last night's game, and they beat a far superior talent with their belief. Yeah. Okay. The All Blacks, when they had the talent, had that belief. Tiger Woods shoots 10 on a hole, and you wanted to talk about Tiger Woods' meltdown. I want to talk about the 5 birdies he hit after he had the 10 on that hole, because a weaker man would have completely capitulated and gone. Lewis Hamilton won his 7th World Championship, and if you follow Formula One, it's very easy to get trapped in that he's got the best car, which the Mercedes are. Mercedes are by far and away the best car. But there's another guy driving the best car, which is Valtteri Bottas. There was a guy on the weekend, if you watch the race in the rain, Lance Stroll, whose dad owns the race team, who started on pole and was leading the race, and when the pressure got too much, completely capitulated, and Hamilton ended up coming from 5th to win the race. I watched a lot of Formula One this season, and a lot of the races he won were from way back in the field where it wasn't the best car that won. It was his fucking mindset that won. And the thing that combines all those things, even though sport should be a light-hearted talk.
You have a question coming up there?
Or a statement?
Unshakable belief. Tiger Woods has an unshakable belief in his own ability. Lewis Hamilton has an unshakable belief in his own ability. The All Blacks had, for a long time, an unshakable belief in their ability, and Queensland, with the worst footballers on the planet, as soon as they put that jersey on, have an unshakable belief in their ability. They don't hire coaches, right? Wayne Bennett coached them this year, but Kevin Walters never coached an NRL game. Fatty Vaughton never coached an NRL game. Mal Meninga coached for one season, was a complete failure. They don't even hire talent coaches. They don't hire X's and O's coaches. They hire inspirational people, right?
So, in short, the game is won before the game is played.
The game is won in between your ears, regardless
Right.
of your talent. I fucking hate Queensland. I fucking hate Queensland. I wish things that I'm not even going to say on fucking radio upon Cameron Smith. But last night I had to sit there and think, fuck, I'd love to have that Queensland spirit in my office, in my life, in my team, where as soon as you put on the jersey, you are 10 times the player, worker, person in spirit that you
There's
are.
one of the
normally.
Queensland players that don't play that well when he plays for his regular club.
Mate, there were guys that were playing in the Queensland Cup and the New South Wales Cup a year ago, and because they were that short on players, were playing State of Origin.
What are you talking about? I still don't get
Well,
it.
it goes
the
back
best
to the
team
leadership.
won. The best team
the
won.
best team didn't win, mate.
Listen, the best team won, all right? The team...
Well, actually, they won, so they are the best team.
Yeah, that's right. The best team won. What happened yesterday with the Blues or the Maroons, very simple. There was a case between a champion team versus a team of champions.
That's exactly right.
And the champion team won. The champion team was instilled by Bennett into knowing you guys are brand new. You guys are nobody. So you fucking either get onto that field and make a mark or go home as a nobody. It's up to you. And by the way, he talked to them. He instilled that mindset of champion team. The other guys are going, do you know what? We freaking good. Maybe I should go for 2 tries. And after Tedesco just get, how do you call it, knee head and then just to make sure that they finished him, they grabbed him and they just chuck him on the ground a little bit more. I just don't know, man. The big thing is the best team in terms of champion team won.
Yeah.
Now, what about the All Blacks? The All Blacks, yes. But who said to you that because the All Blacks has got the superiority in terms of All Blacks that they never lose? Since when the champion never lose? Champions are champions because they know how to lose. Because they come back from their loss and step back up. So Sunday now, they drew against Australia, lost one against the Puma Argentina. Now they are not. Come on, man.
Have they still got the unshakable belief that made them invincible? Because that's what made them invincible.
That's a freaking question that
That's
conspiracy theorists like you will make.
I'm not a conspiracy theory.
I'll go. It's a game.
I'm trying to find lessons
you
in
win
leadership,
some,
mate.
you lose some. I'm
trying to find lessons
Do you know
in
one of my
leadership.
heroes, Ayrton Senna, right? Who's done, I think, 161 races in his career. Very short career, 11 years, if not 10. And then has won about 41 races in his life, which is less than 25% or around 25% of the race he's been. And he's got a star now in the constellation with his name. I think what we need to be doing is to focus on what is worth focusing rather than what fits our agenda or what fits what we need to make in terms of point, right? Like, I don't hate Queenslander because they're Australian. As a member and a future leader of the One Nation Party.
You're not a rugby league supporter, though, mate. If you're a rugby league supporter, you would hate Queensland because of
I'm not.
the rivalry.
I'm not, mate. No. Being an Australian, whoever wins is my side. Okay? No, I'm kidding.
I hate them, but I want to
for
be
sure,
them.
I was for the Blues because I live here. This is the only problem is because we live here, we're for the Blues. And yet we don't even freaking know all the players, right? But, mate, I'm sorry, man. Yesterday,
you don't have to be sorry.
the team
We're
that
agreeing.
was a champion team won.
We're agreeing.
Yeah. The team that thought, we are a freaking bunch of superstar deserve to lose.
But the leader gets that. So it comes back to the leadership thing. Wayne Bennett knows he's got to manage the men, not their talent.
Yeah.
Because he's got what he's got. New South Wales, and it's happened for years. And I study this stuff closely. Because they've had the most talent, they've managed the X's and O's. They've tried to find a way to circumvent the system. Instead of just going to work, Wayne Bennett gets Queensland and goes, you know what you got to do? Go to work. So it ties back into what we do with our businesses and what we do with our staff. So we get excited when we get, I said it before, you get excited when you get someone walk through the door who's got sales experience and all the talent, when all you really want is someone to go to fucking work.
What I saw a little bit, because I didn't watch the game last night, but I saw some of the highlights. I saw why Wayne won with his team. When he was being interviewed and they asked him, what did you tell your team? Because last week you lost, and did you tell them? And he said, yeah, well, I didn't tell them much. He didn't want to say what it was. Or when, after the team won, how they turned the ice bucket all over him, right? Or how afterwards he was being interviewed and he said, the entire team is invited me to be with them at Christmas, blah, 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 but I don't know.
Byron Bay.
And do you know, what he's trying to say is, as a leader, he knows intrinsically what every team member needs and is going through. And that is a very good lesson for us.
Yeah.
We, at the South Sydney season launch this year, myself and another Wisebury person who'd had a few too many beers went around and interviewed most of the South players, and it was about Wayne Bennett and what the difference was from their coach, because their coach had just gone to Brisbane. Mm-hmm. And to a man, the answer was, he gets me. He gets me on an individual level. Cameron Munster was the best player for Queensland last night, and I think he won man of the match. The Melbourne Storm won the premiership. And if you need an anecdote, it's this. He rang Wayne Bennett from Byron Bay on their end of premiership party when he was supposed to be in State of Origin camp and said, can I have 2 more days? 2 more days and I'll be in camp. Wayne Bennett didn't answer him, just hung up the phone. All right? And Cameron Munster turned up. Didn't take the 2 days, but turned up. And then in the first half of the first game in Adelaide, New South Wales were winning 10-0. Queensland came out in the second half, smashed New South Wales to pieces, won the first game, which never should have happened. And everyone was trying to guess, what's Wayne Bennett's speech at halftime? What's he done to get these people going? He walked over to Cameron and said, party's over. 2 words. And Munster came out in the second half. He should have got man of the match in the first game as well.
Come out as an animal.
2 words. He had the whole team. Yeah. He could have been up the whole team, but he walked over to the bloke who rang him and said, coach, I need 2 more days on the piers. He walked over to him and said, party's over, and turned the whole game around, turned the whole series around. New South Wales only won the second game by as much as they did because Cameron Munster got knocked out in the first 2 minutes of the first half, first 2 minutes of the game. And then he completely destroyed us last night. But it was 2 words, did that for the whole series. Parties over.
I think we're talking too much about a game. It's a game that shows leadership.
Of Wayne
that
Bennett,
shows
mate.
Listen, mate. There's leadership in everything. All right. For the moment, I'm looking at leadership of our country. We're going through COVID, so South Australia has been isolated again. We've got states that are behaving more like countries from the Eastern Bloc in Europe.
Comrade Palaszczuk let 52,000 people at a State of Origin last night, but won't let a bloke in to visit his dying mother.
Then, like states in the same country, what is it that we are doing, right? These are the things. There are questions that I sit down and ask. Why is it that we have a man who's died yesterday on, I think it was the Gold Coast, being knifed, and 2 days ago it was somebody else knifed in New South Wales. No, yesterday I think it was 2 neighbors arguing about feeding birds, and one used a wooden button and somehow got killed by the other guy. And these are some of the issues that really are happening. I think the State of Origin is very simple. The leader won. Wayne Bennett won. Brad Fittler, 0. That's as simple as that. Or 2-1, or whatever you want. Okay? That is final. There's bigger things now. And the bigger thing is we are now a country where we have people who are losing their job. We have people who are not doing so well in their business. We have people who want to just have more time isolated. We have people who couldn't give a shit. How do we get that country together? That takes a leader. And if our leader was to
Wayne Bennett for Prime Minister, I think we've answered the question.
Yeah, maybe. And I think that should be. I think that should be.
I think he has a lot of moments of selfishness for himself, which if you follow his career, but the key point, like what he's paid to do, he's paid to fucking bring people together. And he does it better than anybody.
Yeah.
Anything else, boys?
No.
I won the wine.
You did?
I think that unfortunately, regrettably, yes, you did.
I won the
Thank
one.
you very
Peace
much,
out, boys. Love yous all.
Bye.
See you guys.
Mate.